My dad.
No.
That's the huntsman.
The
Master.
blanked. The masters wear the 4 buttons. Okay, so 3 buttons in the field. Staff, the huntsman, and if there's a professional whip, 5 button. And then 4 button are the masters of the fox hunting. The hierarchy is like this. Number 1 are the hounds. Okay, that's what it's all about, the hounds. Number 2 is the huntsman, controls the hounds. Number 3 are the masters of the fox hunting. Okay, they're responsible for all of the logistics, the finances, and everything involving the hunt, and supporting the huntsman and hiring the huntsman, supporting the hounds and making sure that the hounds are bred properly through the huntsman. And then behind them are the field. And in front of the field, in between the masters, that's a little confusing, we also have officers. So you have the masters, which are kind of in charge of everything, and then you have the president, the vice president, secretary, things like that. Now, some people will argue, and I like to agree with this, that the secretary who's responsible for the caps is also a staff member. And there are people who say that and they call him an honorary secretary. I don't know what the honorary part comes in. But anyway, they say that they should be entitled to wear 5 buttons too, because they are actually members of the staff. I wear 3. Anyway.
What about whippers in? What about whippers in?
Whippers in, it depends on where if it's a professional whipper in, a paid person, they get 5 buttons. Usually in our case, we don't use professionals, we use amateurs or really members of the field who help. So they're all 3 buttons.
And what do they do?
And what the whip does is they're responsible for doing what the huntsman wants them to do in terms of the hounds.
Okay.
So let's say we're going on a run up a hill. Before the huntsman even casts the hounds, he'll set his whips like over here, to make sure that they don't run away or run onto the highway or run someplace they're not supposed to run. You got to keep them kind of confined within the parameter of their hunting. So the whipper ends are basically responsible for kind of being on the outer edges of the hounds. Okay. Any other questions so far? Yeah.
There's a process for earning colors, earning your buttons.
There is.
And how
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, and there's no hard and fast rule. The masters are the ones who decide who gets their colors. They're the ones who decide who gets their buttons. Okay. And what they look at are 3 things. They look at your mastery of the hunt lore. In other words, how well you know the hunt and understand the functions of the hunt and all these kinds of things I'm talking about. Number 2, the mastery of the country. In other words, knowing the geography, the topography of all the various places that you hunt. And you remember I was talking about this a little bit earlier, somebody asked the question, what if I want to go in halfway through this? And I said, that's fine, but you're going to probably go in with a hunt member. That'll be somebody who has a red coat, because they are supposed to know how to get back by themselves. Okay? And then the third thing is mastery of horsemanship, or not mastery, but horsemanship. In other words, that you can handle yourself on a horse in all these kinds of different things that happen, whether it's jumping, or going through woods, or going through rivers, or whatever. So those are kind of the 3 components that they look at. And then the 4th component, to a lesser extent, is your service to the riding club. In other words, you do a lot of things, you help organize things or something like that. Sometimes they award colors for somebody who is not in the first field, which is rare. But because of the amount of service they've given to the club, they award them colors anyway. Because usually the only way you get colors is you have to be in the first field. Okay? Which means you're doing the jumping. And you're right behind those hounds as they're hunting. Yeah?
How high is the jumping usually?
What do you think, Matthew? The highest is about 3, 4?
They vary on the terrain.
Oh yeah, I know that. Depends on whether you're going uphill or downhill.
We are in the process of making something a bit easier. But yeah, they get up to nearly 4 foot.
Yeah. Going uphill.
But I mean, with the hunting, there's no need to jump. If you don't want to jump, you don't have to. It's all optional. I mean, we have 3 flights generally.
Yeah, I told him 3 fields.
And you pick whatever flight you're comfortable with, or you just change fields. Depending on what horse I'm on, depends on whether I'm jumping or not anyway. So, I mean, if I can hunt hounds and get around the property without jumping, you certainly don't need to either. Sometimes.
See, and I agree with that. It's called larking. The idea of larking is that you take a jump you don't need to. And why do that? It's wear and tear on the horse. Maybe there's a time you're going to really need that horse to do a jump, but you've been larking all this time. Now the horse is like, I don't want to do it.
Certainly from my perspective, because I've obviously got to be out there. I'm the last person out. You guys can go, and if you're tired, you can go in. Sort of.
He's first out and last in.
I don't want to use any more energy up on my horse than I need to. So if there's a gate open next to a jump, I'm going to go through the gate. It's just it's common sense.
Right.
And like you say, accidents happen when you're playing. We've all been there.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So does somebody maintain these like natural jumps so the footing's
No,
okay around it and there's
we'll
no
go out
gopher
and
holes?
Pre-season, we'll go around and check everything.
We build
throughout
them.
the summer,
We
we'll
repair them.
stuff. And then if there's a problem, like it's
Not yet.
okay. I was
Yeah.
going to say that's all part of the field.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
For the horses, the footing, do you guys go out and do something for it so there's not a bunch of like holes from ground squirrels and gophers?
It's a good question, and in California we have a huge problem with squirrels, as you know, and holes, and you can't possibly fill them all. So what I did the first year I hunted was I was real careful of the holes as the horse and I were doing stuff. My attitude is the second year, the horses now understood that they're not supposed to step in holes. Now it's their job. And my horse did that. She watched for holes. I might be pulling her this way, and she go, right over this way, because there's a hole right there. So we're mindful of holes. And one of the things you do in a field is if you see a particularly nasty hole, you're coming up on it, you'll say, "Where hole?" which is beware. There's a hole. And you're telling the person behind you who may not be able to see it, hey, look out, there's a hole coming up. Now, the downside to that is, especially for people who are new to it, they go out there and there's 10,000 holes. And they're going, where hole, where hole, where hole, where hole? It's like, well, okay, So you just pick out the kind of nasty ones, like you're on maybe a kind of a gallop up a road. This happened to me once, many years ago. And there was a hole right in the middle of the road. But we were all so close, and we're all galloping uphill, didn't see it. So I could have used a wear hole on that one, because my horse went both feet in the hole. We flipped, I flipped. My horse took off. It took half an hour to find her. We got back on. We continued hunting. But I lost a half hour of hunting. I was really mad. Shoot. Okay, so the boots. Now, this is the huntsman's boots. These are my boots, and these are my wife's boots. Again, the gentlemen who wear the red coats are entitled to have what's called brown tops. Okay? And these are a variation of brown tops that aren't quite so brown. And then the ladies wear what they call patent leather tops. That's why they're so shiny. And again, this is for somebody with colors. If you don't have colors, plain black. During the formal hunt season, if it's an informal hunt, brown boots are okay. So there's all these little variations. We have what we call formal days and informal days. And a formal day is the red coats, the white pants, the brown tops. The informal days, tweed coat, beige pants, black boots or brown boots. Okay? So there's some differences between what they call informal and formal.
No laces on the boot?
Say again?
No laces on the boot?
Well, we're not real hard and fast on that, but I'll tell you, it's a lot better to do without laces, because when you've gone through a river, you're going to be really glad you didn't have laces, because that water just sucks right in there. Yeah.
Do you ever do the zip-ups on the boots?
Same deal as the lace things. They're not as watertight as these guys are. And frankly, I prefer these.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, when all this sort of stuff is stuff you accumulate over years. I mean, when you first come out, we don't expect everyone to be turned out
perfectly.
straight off.
Yeah.
I mean, really all we're looking for is a hard hat and a sensible pair of boots.
And a sensible person and a
You know,
horse.
and that's the thing. And then over the years, you know, you slowly accumulate.
Yeah, I didn't get all this stuff right away. I mean, it took me 2 years to get my colors. And somebody had asked about this before. Generally, it takes 2 to 3 years